Welcome to 5 Minute Friday, everybody, where we share our best tips and tricks to help you get just a little bit better every week. And this week, we are talking about lessons we learned in our first year. All right, Eddie. So we've had this question come in, which is, what are lessons we have learned in our first year on the job in construction?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I've got mine, but if you've got yours, how about you go first? Age before beauty. How about that?
Batting leadoff. All right.
You didn't hear what I said.
And I reject that first statement.
Dang it.
All right.
He did hear it.
I did hear it. How to pace. How to pace.
Pacing.
Yes.
Okay.
I learned this specifically when I was tying rebar because it's a very grueling job.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would see the guys that have been out there a while.
Yeah.
And they knew how to pace. I got out there as a youngster. You know, it's 98 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's sweating buckets.
Yeah.
It's long day after long day after long day. And those guys knew. I mean, like, next week's coming, the next week's coming. They were going to be there for months and years and so on. And they knew how to pace. They didn't. It almost, like, in my young mind, felt like laziness. Like, why don't you guys move?
Yeah.
And maybe there was an element of that.
Fair.
But those guys, they did know how to kind of, like, do the slow is smooth, smooth is fast thing. Like,
Yeah.
And I've picked that up. Like, the older I've gotten when I'm working around the house, the more I try to remind myself constantly and consistently to work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Best example is the Lowe's trip.
The Lowe's trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're doing a home project. Like, how many trips to Lowe's do you have to take before you get the plumbing project done? Before you
I was literally going to say plumbing. That's every time
of course,
for me,
because
man.
you don't keep that stuff on hand.
There's like 6 trips every time I do a plumbing project.
Yeah.
I am okay, my faucet, or not my faucet, like under the sink,
Yeah.
it's leaking, and I got to replace everything. And P-Trap's just like, it's just, Lord have mercy on me. It's not good. So I'm just pushing that trip off because I know it's going to be a 6 tripper at least. I will cut the whole thing out and take it with me and be like, I'm going to rebuild this basically, just a little more sturdy this time. And I will still forget something
Yeah.
every time.
Well, I'm here if you need it, but that's the whole thing is, like, think, then act, you know, like, write your list down, then go by, measure twice, cut once. It's all that stuff.
Well, of course,
and then beyond that, like, just the whole general pacing of, yeah, we're going to be here all day. And we got to keep coming back and doing this. Like, it's better to work a lot more like a metronome.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like, don't put it up to rabbit speed all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's something you kind of learn in marathoning too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is pacing. It's, you know, you want to maintain something that's just fast enough, but not too fast, just slow enough, but not too slow. Like, you just find that nice balance there, and you can just hold that for a long period of time. We're going for longevity here.
Right.
We're going for longevity. We're not going for Usain Bolt. You know, like, that's not what we're going for.
No, and then, you know, 23 coming out and working, that was what I was figuring is like, I'm gonna do everything like aggressively, kind of Daniel LaBelle style.
And that's pretty awesome.
If you know, you know. If
Yeah.
you don't know, look up Daniel LaBelle.
Daniel LaBelle, he's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
So good. His different types of runs, by the way.
Yeah.
If you've seen it, you know.
I'm just impressed by
amazing.
his running in flippers. So now you're really curious, go check it out.
Yeah, his running in flippers is pretty great.
It's amazing.
All right, so mine. I think I complained a heck of a lot too much about things that I did not understand.
Okay.
And Dad called me on this. Is I got into this habit because I think I had heard Dad utter once or twice, these are the worst drawings I've ever seen. All right. Yeah. And I just latched onto that for some reason. I'm 19. I'm young. I don't freaking know my butt from a manhole covered. Like, I do not know anything.
Yeah.
And I just started complaining about like, oh, this is just, these are just bad drawings. I'm like, well, you're just a moron, Tyler. You're just a moron. You don't freaking know any better. So I think I would say complain less is kind of the overall lesson I learned.
Oh yeah.
It's not all as bad as you think it is. Now, I get it. Sometimes you get down on yourself, or you get into a mode of just complaining nonstop, and I think everybody's kind of prone to that. But learn to catch yourself and just remind yourself it's probably not that bad. We're gonna work through it. Later on down the line, a decade in, it was more like, yeah, okay, we got some stuff missing, but we'll make it work.
Yeah.
You learn to just kind of shrug it off and say, yeah, it's fine. Because you've seen all the crappy drawings and you're like, yeah, well, at least it's not like this one.
Sure.
You've got something to compare it to. At the point, I had nothing to compare it to. And so
They were the worst drawings you'd ever seen.
they literally were, because they were the only drawings.
Yeah,
I've
all
ever seen.
three sets.
All three
Yeah.
sets.
Yeah, that's right.
So I would say just stop complaining. I think that's that one could be a little bit feisty, I guess. Feisty take. Stop complaining.
I dig it. I like it. Cool.
Anything else?
No, man, that's a wrap. We're
That's a
going to
pretty-
actually get near
Wait,
5 minutes.
did we actually do it?
No, there's no way.
Are you
No, we
serious?
didn't.
Did we not get? Oh. Well, maybe we delay this thing a little bit longer just to ensure that we...
Just to ensure that it's never an actual 5 minute
No,
Friday.
it feels wrong if we close it now.
All right, we got to go, man.
gotta
Let the
close.
people go.
All right, guys. Well, that's all we got for you today. Hey, and listen, if you got any questions on that, or actually, I would love to hear lessons you learned in your first year. All right. So things that you walked away with, or lessons that you learned in your last year. All right. Last year, what did you learn? And then what did you learn in your first year? Call us at 512-THE-BROS, 512-THE-BROS. Leave us a voicemail, and we'd love to share it. I think it'd be a heck of a lot of fun to hear some of your hot takes. So, guys, have a great weekend. Go build something awesome.